Jeremy here with Velocity Studio Mix, here to help you create your own studio quality mix in minutes. Now in this episode, we're talking again about mixing with Reverb plugins in this part 2 episode. In our last episode, we talked about 3 main categories that I like to place reverbs into. Category number 1, reflections. Category number 2, placement, and category number 3, effects or transformative effects. If you haven't seen that part 1 episode, please go back and watch it. We cover approximately 8 different studio reverbs and a few of them that you may not have heard of before. Question of the day: what is your favorite reverb plugin? Let us know in the comments section. Now in this part 2 episode, we'll be covering several other reverb plugins that will round out our reverb toolbox that I believe may be useful to you down the road at some point. We'll talk about that and more coming up next. All right, let's get right into it. We're going to be looking at another Pro Tools session. Of course, you can use any DAW, any digital audio workstation that you want to use. Like we've said before, any points that we go over can apply universally to all DAWs out there. Right in the middle here, we have our buses, as we've stated before in our part 1 episode about this. Make sure you go back and watch that, where we go over several different plugins like the UAD's famous Sound City plugin that they recently came out with this last fall. Now, right in the middle, as we said, we have our buses. Okay, so we have our tracks running into their individual bus: drums, bass, guitar, Vox, BVGs. Okay, and then from there they run into the mix or submix bus for some processing, and then out to the main. Okay, so that's kind of the routing of what you have happen. Now, if you want to put an effect on something, you could place it on the actual track, like we've placed over here. Okay, you could place it on the actual track. We have some drum tracks here, kick all the way over to ride overheads, where we've placed ascend on every single one of these track individually. Reason why we did this is because we didn't want to place it on the entire bus. We wanted to make sure we leave out this room 1 because it is a reflections type reverb track that's already there. And currently it's at all the way down, pulled down. Okay, so you've got to put it at one of 2 places to affect your track or vocal or whatever you're wanting to affect. In this case, drums. We're placing a send, and basically we're sending a copy of these drums. The original is going out through the mains, right, in the submix and the buses. Well, a copy now is going from here all the way down over here to our effects folder or effects faders, okay, which is right here. Okay, if you don't place it there, for an example, you'll notice right here on our BVGs we did not place any sends. Okay, because in this case we wanted to affect all the sends. So what we did is we went over here to the bus. You've either got to place it on the tracks or the bus. In this case, we wanted to affect all of the tracks of the BVGs, so we went over to the bus and we just placed 1 D BVGs for delay and 1 V BVGs for verb. Okay, and what that does, again, it sends a copy over to that folder or these faders for FX group. Okay, so now we're going to open that up, and you'll notice here are all of our faders that we have to choose from. We've got D Vox for delay Vox. We've got D BVGs. You can see that we've pulled that up a little bit on both of those to give us some delay. And then from there on, we've got V drums, verb drums, bass, all the way down here to Vox and BVGs. You notice that there's several that are all the way pulled down. And really, so far right now, the only ones we're affecting are the Vox and the BVGs, and then some delay on the Vox and the BVGs. That's really the only thing we have effect on right now. Now, where we're going to be camping out on is we're going to look at 12 other different plugins. We've already looked at 8 in part 1. In this part 2, we're going to be looking at 12 other different reverbs I want to talk about, and we're going to be pulling this fader up and down and enjoying some of that nice reverb. First, let's see what it sounds like unaffected. We're going to be looking at our clean guitar group right here. We've got it soloed up. We're going to have our drums soloed up too so we can hear it. And let's just hear what it sounds like by itself. for the verses. Okay, so I just have a little bit of a delay on it. I recorded it with delay because I wanted the delay that I wanted to have. But one thing I like to do is don't record it with my guitars with reverb, and then after the fact I can place the amount of reverb or change up what I want and texture the reverb like I want to use it. Okay, so from there we're affecting all of the guitar tracks. We've got 4 clean guitar tracks here. And so we're not going to put the send on there. Instead, we're going to affect all of them. So I'm just going to go straight over to the bus. Here's our clean guitar bus right here for rhythm guitar. Okay, and you can see where we've got our verb send. Okay, again, that means we're sending a copy over here to the actual fader in FX. Okay. So we're going to look at that. Let me scroll this over, and we're going to start activating some of these. So the first one we're going to activate that I want you to notice is a favorite one. Now, this is a favorite one. This may be overkill for you, but I'm telling you, I absolutely love this. We're going to activate the Big Sky. Now, the Big Sky, everybody knows about Strymon's Big Sky, their timeline, their Big Sky for reverb, and then the Mobius for mods, okay? So why would I possibly want their plugin? Well, a reason why is, again, whatever I do on the Big Sky or whatever I do on the plugin, I can have that preset. So if I do something crazy creative here in my on my tracks here, as we're about to do, I can save that anytime. If I want to do a real gig somewhere, I can have that actual preset. So I love that. That we have a little bit more creativity. We can do some things, but I'm playing this pretty much clean. It has a little bit of delay on it, but I can affect it afterwards. And that way I may not know what kind of texture that really works in the mix. Okay. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to pull up the Big Sky, and here it is here. And of course you can go through all the presets, factory presets, and you can scroll through, and you'll notice these are a lot of the same presets that are in. It's not all the presets, but it's the majority of all the swells, spring, shimmer, room. Okay, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger on the screen for you. This may be a little bit too big. Let's see if we can, that may work. Okay. And then I'll scroll over so we can see our clean guitar. Okay, that should work. Let's see here. Yeah, that'll work a little bit better. Okay, now we can see. All right, so we've got Bloom. Okay, we've got Coral, we've got Cloud, we've got Halls, Magneto, Nonlinear, Plate, Reflections, Room, Shimmers, Springs, Swells. Okay, and we're just going to go through some of these and change these up. I'm going to start off with Outlaw. I know automatically that I like that sometimes for some texture. And one thing we can do is we can move this fader up and down and add more or less of it as we go. So let's hit it. Now let's add some. Now that's pretty amazing. I like that. And see, the great thing about it is we've not committed to that sound. We can take it out anytime we want to. If we want to pull this fader down, we can take it down. We don't have to commit to it. We can have room to create. Okay, we could go ahead and we could change this to something else. Let's try, let's see, breathe out. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, now let's try another one. Let's try Ghost. I know I like this one. I've heard this one before. Okay, and we can just keep going through these. As you can see, there's a lot of options here. Let's see what Weird Science is. I love all these algorithms. Let's go with Choral Epiphany. And of course, you can save any of these and have your own user presets, okay? And as I said before, you can place these on your, using the Nixie application software that Strymon has. You can place it on your actual, after you've created this, you can have the exact preset on your actual device, your actual Big Sky pedal, if you have that. So pretty amazing. That's one of my favorite tools. We kind of spend a lot of time on that, but that's one of my favorite ones to create a texture, especially when you're holding out chords like we were doing in the verse there. Okay, so I'm going to inactivate that. I'm going to activate the next one, which is our, and I love everything from FabFilter, and their Pro Reverb is absolutely amazing. No different. Now this is, it can be as easy as you want to have it, or it can be as surgical as you want it to be. Okay, now you may see a couple of things here and you're like, oh, I don't know what all this stuff is. It's easy to use, but like several, not every plugin out there is like this, but there's several plugins out there that you can have a starting place and just go to their settings right here and just pick something out. Ambience, okay, small, medium, large room, tempo, and they already have things set up for you. Okay, eighth note flat, fat slap. Okay, a 16th note, 32nd note, vocal slap. Okay. And a lot of times what you want to have happen, you don't want to just slam reverb on a vocal maybe. Okay, so in this case, maybe you want to go over here to tempo. Maybe you want to do vocal slap. Okay, and notice I hit that. Okay, once I did that right there, notice what it's doing right here. It's taking off. You'll probably hear my dog barking in the back. There was just a loud crack of thunder. But anyway, you'll notice right here, it rolled off. It has an EQ on this reverb. And this is something you want to do. You want to roll off sometimes, like on a vocal reverb, you want to roll off the bottom end and you'll want to roll off the top end. Okay. And so then what's remaining is just this area right here, whatever. And they've already dialed that up for you. Now you can tweak this, you can fix this, you can do whatever you want to with it, but they've already got it set up for you. So this is a great plugin that can help you achieve all this sound. And really it would just really help you if you just went through, if you own this plugin, great plugin, any plugin that they have, they're really great about EQs. And again, you can be as basic as you want to be, just hit some of the presets, or you can tweak this as much as you want to. There may be something that you hear, something you don't hear, and that you need to slide something, move something. You want a little bit more high in there, so maybe you have to capture a little bit more, or maybe you want a little bit less. But it's a great starting place, okay? So anything from FabFilter, their Pro R reverb is absolutely amazing. So we're going to inactivate that. Next up is our lustrous plates, okay? Lustrous plates, okay? And this is an amazing tool as well. I mean, we've got so many plugins. I really don't know how we could possibly use all of them. And of course, same kind of thing. You've got all your presets here that you can go over. It's absolutely amazing by Liquid Sonics. Okay. And actually I got this just going through Slate Digital. I was able to get this and pick this up. Absolutely amazing tool. And I can't say enough about it. Any of these tools. The truth is any one reverb will probably do the job, but each one of them do different things, you know, silver plate, chrome plate, steel plate. Okay. Absolutely amazing. And a couple of other of my favorites here are some SSL solid state logic plugins. Absolutely love these. Here's their plate that they have, okay, that they've recently put out. That's another amazing reverb, okay. in, dampening, out, color. Okay, of course it's got presets as well. We're going to inactivate that. And then their flex reverb, and this thing is extensive. I'm telling you, it's already got a built-in equalizer in it. You may or may not seen this. This looks very familiar. This area right here looks very like a lot of the old 80 models faders that you've seen before. I think the Lexicon or whatever that you see in a lot of studios is very reminiscent of that. But at the same time, you have an equalizer here that you can utilize and turn up and down. Okay, and each of those points affect similar to what we were doing in the Fab Filter R, but it just does it a little bit differently. It has actual buttons you can turn. Okay, and if you have any of the SSL equipment, their physical equipment, you can turn those knobs easily, and use a real knob. Of course, there's a threshold compression out here that you can also use as well. So pretty amazing. I haven't used this a lot, but I am going to be using this in the future a little bit more, just because I have that package that a lot of people have where you have the slate and the SSL all together in one yearly payment or whatever. So I've got all those plugins and I love using them. Next on our list is the VSC, which is from Slate. So when you get that solid state or the slate, you can get it all together as one and you get all of this. Okay, so it's really fun to use. And now the great thing about this, a lot of people may not know, they see this, okay, this looks kind of ordinary. Of course, it's got presets as well. It's powered by Liquid Sonics, just like the lustrous plates. But every major reverb out there, it has emulations of that in this delay. I mean, in this reverb. If you only had this reverb, you'd be great. It's all the classics. That's why it's called Reverb Suite Classics. Okay, and so you can go through the drums, guitar, keys, all the way down to vocals. Okay, and you can pick out any of those. And again, Slate's one of the few companies that you could actually start off with their presets and just tweak their presets. Absolutely amazing. Then the Lexicon. This one's a famous one. This is actually off of UAD. You'll recognize this one. Takes a little bit more CPU power, but the digital reverb, very famous one. Of course, it's got its presets as well that you can go through. Absolutely amazing tool. You're not going to use all these, okay? But these are just a lot of the options, and different people like different things, okay? Pure Plate, another UAD, okay? Another UAD reverb that you might like. Capital, another UAD plugin that they have for reverb. Pretty amazing. A little bit more CPU power required when you use it. And you can change the mics that are being used as well. Okay. And then their Hits Chamber. It's another really cool one off of UAD. Okay. And you can use the 2648 chamber, or you can use the 2644 chamber. Okay. And then, of course, the controls across the bottom. Okay. So a lot of options there. That's another 12, okay? Another 12 reverbs that you could be using. Of course, as we've said before, I love everything from Valhalla, okay? Everything that they have is absolutely amazing. It may not look real cool and fancy like UAD, but their algorithm is absolutely amazing. And, of course, they have plenty of presets in here as well that you can go over. You can change the modes, presets, the color, default. They have all kinds of presets in here, and this is actually one of my all-time favorite. But we have so many plugins to pick from nowadays. I just would be remiss if I didn't do a part 2 and show you all these that we have. So we went over 12 in this video, and in part 1 we extensively went over I believe about 8 or 10 in there. Okay, so we got a good 20 reverbs that we've gone over. I don't think anybody needs more than that. Okay.